So, I'm very happy to speak to the head of Spielworks, Uli Blennerman, to talk about his new game, El Burro. Uli, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Ben, for having me.
So, first of all, can you give us an overview of the game? I know this is a sequel to El Granja by Oda and Mike, but you know a lot more about this than me. So can you give us an overview of what the game is, how many people it plays up to, all of that good stuff?
Yeah, so El Burro, as you said, is a sequel to the really successful La Granja, which was released, I think, in 2014 and recently got a deluxe edition too. But El Burro, so first it's for 1 to 4 players. It plays in about 120 plus minutes. It's difficult to say so, but it's either a Kennerspiel or an expert game. So it's somewhere in between here. And like La Granja, El Burro uses dice drafting and multi-purpose cards. So cards that you can put at various different positions at your farm. And the game, like La Granja, is again at Mallorca in the Balearic Islands. So you are having a small farm in the area of La Granja, which is still happening today. So La Granja is a farm, pretty famous. And you try to develop it and get the most prestige in doing so.
So, how did El Burro happen? So you knew Oda and Mike through doing La Granja that they designed together. How did the idea for El Burro come about?
Yeah, both of them. So both Mike and Oda are really creative. They have lots of ideas. And they thought that the story of La Granja is not finished yet. So they have lots of additional ideas how to move this project into various different directions. And after El Burro, there will be even more games based on the base system of La Granja. But Ode told me once, Uli, I have more ideas. Are you interested in a new standalone game?
And so tell us this story then, because La Granja was building farms in Mallorca. How is El Burro different? How is it sort of narratively different to La Granja?
So first, maybe I'm sticking to what is again happening in La Granja. So the successful formula of dice drafting, you're doing actions when you pick a specific die, and of the multi-purpose cards is the same or roughly the same. But in La Granja, you had a central marketplace on the game board, and you could deliver goods to it. This market is totally missing from this game. Instead, you are having a race to the port of Palma, and which means you have your donkeys and have to go all the way to the port, and along the way you get benefits. So this has been changed, and there's also an element of what we call positive player interaction, because it means that you can deliver your goods also to other players in part, which definitely helps them, but it also has benefits for you. Whereas in the La Granja, in the La Granja, you had some negative player interaction because everybody had market stands and you could push them away. So that is what we are calling negative player interaction. So this is positive. But La Granja, the new game, so El Burro, has a lot more than the first edition of the La Granja, because now you have 2 decks of cards. So in the earlier edition, you had just 1 deck, but here you have special cards, which you can also place, and they are mainly good in the end game. So it's also important to play them at the right time. Maybe playing them too early, you are losing benefits from other cards. Plus, each player in El Burro now has their own deck of 12 small donkey cards. And each player has the same ones, but plays them at various times, and they should give you bonuses during the game. So El Burro is definitely one notch upwards in complexity, but also in depth, in gaming depth from La Granja.
So let's go through then some of the sort of key mechanics of the game, so we kind of have an idea what the game is. So you've mentioned them, but let's go through the cards. You said they're multi-purpose cards. Can you explain a bit more what they are, their function, and how players can benefit from them?
Yeah, so each player has their player mat, and you can, if you have a card, you can place it on one of 4 different sides. So top, beneath, and left and right. If you played a card to the left, it is a field. So gradually you have more fields and your harvest will be better. If you play it to the top of your tableau, of your mat, then it is basically a market card. So you have to put in some goods which you have harvested earlier and then move it along, away. Each fulfilled card which will give you prestige. If you play to the right, your income will be greater, your hand size may be increased, or you may get additional picks here. So also benefits. And if you play beneath your player mat, then there are by text some improvements to your farm, or that you can do more at once. So each card has all these 4 informations there. And you have to think when playing them, does it really benefit my strategy if I now increase my fields, or let's play to the right, because then my base income will be higher per round. So, and the special cards which you have in your same hand, and people can see how many special cards you have because the back says, yeah, it's a special card. You have to have a great timing to play them at the right time.
And also this game features dice drafting. Can you explain what function that fills in the game?
Yeah, so there is a smallish rondel on the game board, and per player you are using 2 dice plus 1 extra die for all players. So in sequence, you are picking, when it's your turn, you're picking 1 die. And then with this die, you can do various actions. This could be that your basic goods are added, or that you move ahead on the siesta track, or that you get an additional pick or some money. So you can also see what the other players are doing, and then maybe take a die that they need. And with the last die, the surplus die, all are using these actions. So this is normally the start of the game round.
And can you tell us then about the donkey board and the 12 special donkey cards you get?
Mm-hmm. So the game El Burro, I haven't mentioned this, has 4 game rounds. And per game round, you have a deck of 12 cards. Per game round, you are picking 4. So you could now say, well, this doesn't add up. But one of these 4 cards is placed face down on the table and is used in the last game round. So you know which 3 cards you will have in the last game round. And the others are placed for special scoring, but mainly for how many donkey deliveries you are having. So if the donkey card on the front says 3, you know I have 3 donkey deliveries. Could be to my market cards, or could be for other players so that I'm helping them. And there's also 1 goat delivery involved. So this is for special places. So, and of course, you know that everyone has the same cards here, but there is some random element, because at the start you are shuffling your deck and then taking 4, but also, is it now most important to do this special scoring? Do I need a very strong last turn, so I'm keeping my strong cards for the last round, or how to distribute it? So it's basically, it's a mini game within El Burro.
And also, you've mentioned it, but if you could give us a bit more detail, that would be great. The race to the market at Parma.
Yeah, this is an abstract road all the way across the game board from your farm to the port of Palma. And along the way, there are improvements, there are benefits. So it could be that your donkey is thirsty, so you can water your donkey there, which give you a benefit. You have to cross barriers. So in order to cross them, you have already need to fulfill some special things before. Otherwise, you have to stop. If you reach the port at the end of this race, then you are getting additional points or can deliver to ships that are waiting there. And all this donkey board, this race also means on the special cards also mean that El Burro is a little bit more complex than the La Granja.
And so also the game's got a solo mode that was designed by Oda. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, I'm not a solo gamer per se, but in Oranienburger Canal we had a solo game involved, which was, and it seems to be popular, but this one worked pretty straightforward. But here you are playing against one bot player, and this bot player has special cards here. So we are adding some additional components. And I said I'm not a good solo player, but for me at least, this is most challenging to win against the bot. And but otherwise, it uses the same rules as the base game, just with some additional components and some additional rules for the bot.
Great. So can you give us then the vital statistics for El Burro? When it's coming to crowdfunding, when you want it published, how much it's going to cost, all of that great stuff.
Yeah, we haven't yet made up our mind how much it's cost, but it is a pretty meaty game. And all player boards, the player mats, will be double layered. So there is a lot in the game. There are, as I said, two different card decks, plus the donkey card set, plus solo card decks. There is wooden components. There are cardboard components. The wooden components, by the way, are screen printed, most of them. We are hoping that we can move the game to Gamefound and to Spieleschmiede crowdfunding here in Germany in April. Rather sooner than later, but we'll see how fast we can finish everything. And because of screen printing, double layered boards, and some other stuff, we will print the game in China. So look for a release late this year. So roughly 6 months. But Ben, we both know sometimes you're lucky with transport and with printing production time. Sometimes you aren't. So this is our hope that it's out at the end of this year.
And just one final question then. If you've played La Granja or if you haven't played La Granja, what will you get from this game?
Yeah, so first, if you hated La Granja, then El Burro is nothing for you. It won't change your mind. If you do not like dice drafting, multi-purpose cards, no, El Burro is nothing for you. I think if you liked La Granja, you will love El Burro. If you like an additional notch of complexity, so it's definitely a little bit more complex than La Granja. But if you're looking for something more, then El Burro is something for you.
Excellent. Uli Blenneman, thank you very much.
I thank you, Ben.